Hello, you're watching ET Markets Live. I'm Neha Vashisht, and welcome to a brand new episode of ET Market Wrap, where we discuss everything that's happening in the markets. I'm joined by Kranti Batini from Wealth Mills Securities with me today to discuss more on this. Thank you so much, Mr. Kranti, for joining us today on ET Market Wrap.
Thank you, Neha. Thanks for inviting me on your show to share my market views with you and with all the viewers of ET Market. Thank you.
All right, so let's get to the conversation quickly. Let's start with the markets and what's happening in the markets right now. So, the markets were mostly on the downside this week. However, we did see some kind of upside today. The markets closed 400 plus points, and I want to understand the possible reasons and things that affected the markets this week. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Neha, markets have been in a consolidation phase. If you see the
Hmm.
market movement in the past couple of weeks, they are in a range bound,
Yeah.
the Nifty is just holding the range of 26,000 level. And in fact,
Hmm.
in the middle of the week, Nifty could able to lose 26,000 level of Nifty, but
Yeah.
it could able to manage to take a support around 25,850. That was the range we have
Hmm.
witnessed a complete rebound in the market. But the more
Yeah.
of the pain is in the mid cap and small cap space. That's where the real pain is there for the market, where majority of the stocks during this phase of consolidation, they got corrected more than 25 to 30%. That's where the pain for majority of the investors in the market. So markets are in a consolidation mode at this point of time, and there
Hmm.
was no support from the global markets also during this week.
Yeah.
Today is a different day, contrary to the previous days. Today's we can see some kind of a rally in the global markets. Asian cues have been positive today, so that
Hmm.
could able to give some kind of a support to the market. But market was not able to touch the crucial sentimental zone of range of 26,000 level. The
Hmm.
current mood of the market, Neha, it's not in a mood to run away anywhere. Okay, it's in a
Yeah.
consolidation phase. It's a swing of around 200 points to 300 points on Nifty, either upside or downside. This is the
Hmm.
consolidation phase. We had a clear cut time wise correction at this point of time in the market. We
Right.
can witness at this point of time, and uh, the domestic macros have been quite good. There is a reform
Hmm.
agenda that's going on. Despite of that, the foreign portfolio investors have been the net sellers during this time. They have been the sellers every day, barring couple of days like yesterday, some kind of a
Hmm.
positive buying that happened. But
Yeah.
normally, this is the tendency of the market for the foreign portfolio investors are concerned, considering
Hmm.
some exceptions of here and there. But in the month of November and December, predominantly foreign portfolio
Hmm.
investors tend to be on a sell side rather than getting into a buy side. So,
Okay.
as we are in the fag end of December, the foreign portfolio investors tend to book close their positions at the fag end of the year. So that's
Hmm.
why the markets are in a consolidation phase. But thanks to the DIS and the continuous liquidity that has been coming up into the market, that could able to sustain the market at this range of 26,000. Definitely, just
Hmm.
to summarize the market activity at this point of time, definitely it's a buy on dips, sell on rally kind of a market in the medium to short term.
Right. Let's briefly talk about the market sentiment and the role of US CPI data that came out also. So it was supported by a surprise slowdown in the US because the US consumer price inflation was around 2.7%. So what is your thought on in terms of global markets right now? Do you think that this is just like a temporary kind of push in the markets, or it could actually continue in the near future? The ripple effects of this particular data.
One thing we need to derive 2 points from this data. One
Hmm.
is the really US economy is in a slowing pace, or
Yeah.
is there any, this is the sign of a slowdown of the economy?
Hmm.
The one way the market and everybody thought that there is a US exceptionalism, and the markets are expected to do well. And one of the key Jerome Powell always quotes, I'm still worried about inflation risks due to the uh, tariffs and all. But US had a shutdown, but it is an extraordinary shutdown, I can say. They are everybody expecting for a extraordinary growth phase of US, whereas this time the shutdown has been quite long. This is one of the longest shutdown for US that created some kind of a payment issues, the consumption, and altogether that has factored into the CPI data. Whether this CPI data could give us much more headroom for the Fed to cut rates in the coming few months, we need to see in the next coming meetings. We need to see, but by and large, markets have pursued some kind of a positivity from this data, and markets are rallied. We still need to wait and
Right.
watch as we progress in the coming months, because one hand the tariff worries have been weighing on US market, but
Hmm.
by and large, the US economy is getting into a growth path. That's where the numbers we need to see
Yeah.
as we are getting into the new calendar year.
Absolutely. Let's also talk about foreign institutional investors. So, like you mentioned that during this time, FIIs are mostly net sellers, but in the last 2 days, FIIs have turned net buyers. So, what does it show? Is it a directional change for the market right now, or is it just a temporary bounce?
It can be perceived as a temporary bounce at this point of time,
Hmm.
because the Asian cues has been positive in the last 2 days. Some kind of ETF flows would have flown into the markets. But by and large, the long only FIs have been trying to be on the sidelines at this point of time. Some kind of value buying can happen because chips are available at attractive basis for a longer term perspective. But still, there is a lot of uncertainty with respect to the rupee. The currency is getting depreciated. That's the one key concern for the foreign portfolio investors. And the big news is the trade deal that has been weighing on the market, lingering here and there. We always think that trade deal is coming out this hour or next tomorrow by evening, like that. People have been anticipating, but it's not have taken a complete shape, and we don't know the exact blueprint how things are going to be panning out. That's creating some kind of uncertainty. That was the reason for the foreign portfolio investors to be on a sell side at this point of time in the Indian markets. By and large, Neha, since you made it a point of foreign portfolio investors, just to give a precise data for the last financial year, FIs have sold for a tune of around 3 lakh crores last financial year. And this year, YTD, they sold a tune of around 2,95,000 crores. That's a big number. Okay, but earlier when we started our careers, when we tracked the data of foreign portfolio investors, in a quarter, if they sell 3 to 5 thousand, 3 to 5 billion dollars, that used to be a
Hmm.
big number, and market used to shake up. Not even consolidation, we used to witness some kind of crash in the market. But thanks
Yeah.
the way the markets have matured, the Indian capital markets have been progressing, the inclusive investing nature of Indian retail investors, and how the DIs have become a strong liquidity powerhouses at this point of time. Uh,
Hmm.
uh, it is just we are not witnessed any kind of a significant correction or any kind of a crash at this point of time. We are just mildly witnessing some kind of a time-wise correction, and also some
Hmm.
consolidation in the market. That's how
Right.
the Indian markets have gradually matured in the past decades. How the prominence of FI is still there, but despite of FI heavy selling, we could able to sustain at yeah, in the recent few weeks back. Also, market could able to touch the all-time high, especially the Nifty is concerned. So gradually, okay, the dependence of foreign portfolio investors is gradually coming down, but still FIS plays a significant role in the market. We can't rule out the FIS activity, but DIs have been becoming so much prominence at this point of time on Indian markets.
Okay, let's also talk about some data points. What data points you think that are going to help us understand the markets better, specifically when we talk about the month of December?
We are in the fag end of the year. We have just few trading sessions to close the for the calendar year of 2025. But
Hmm.
the FPI activity is crucial. Neha, how the behavior of the FPI is coming in the coming days, that is extremely crucial. As you mentioned, last
Hmm.
2 days have been there. They have been the net buyers. How the next couple of weeks their activity, and also the joker in the pack at this point of time, and the worrying thing for everyone is the rupee depreciation. It touched 91 per dollar. That has been creating uh, some kind of a sentimental impact in the medium to short term. So these are the key points one need to be keeping on the radar. There are not much because most of these European and US markets are getting into a holiday season during the fag end of the year, especially before
Yeah.
the Christmas. So there are not much data points to see, but by and large, we need to track how the FPI activity that goes on. In the domestic front is concerned, there are parliamentary reforms that's coming up in the form of acts. We have insurance bill that has been insurance reforms bill that has presented in the parliament. We had a major news that is with respect to the nuclear power bill, which is called as Shanti. The bill act has passed in the parliament that gives a plethora of opportunities with respect to the nuclear as a power theme is concerned, because it's at a quite nascent stage, preliminary stage. So that gives flip for the many of the engineering companies to get into this space, which is going to be very exciting in the coming years is concerned, because the domestic demand for power is going to go up. India has becoming a center for data centers. The semiconductor industry and the way the growth prospects are coming, we touched 8.2 GDP number, and to
Yeah.
if this number keeps sustains here, so the consumption for the demand for the consumption of power will go up, the demand for power will go up, and
Hmm.
the nuclear power is going to be a greater theme in India.
All right. Before we move to the last leg of our session, where we will be discussing next week's outlook and levels, it's a short week next week, but still, before that, let's talk about some sectors that can see positive momentum in the near term. So, what are the sectors in India that can see a little positive impact due to the current scenario in the markets?
One thing is the infrastructure sector has been in a consolidation phase, and the stocks have been lingering at the downward trend. But whereas the majority of the investments may come up in the year 26, 27 with respect to infrastructure as a sector is concerned, the stock valuations looks very attractive. So infrastructure is going to be the theme one need to keep on their radar, and we have a budget. As we progress into the 26, we would be rounding the corner with respect to the budgetary announcements are concerned. So that's where the space one need to look at for the medium to short term. And the defense stocks had a good, healthy correction and good consolidation. So that stocks also looks very attractive to me at this point of time.
Hmm.
And as I mentioned to you, the nuclear power theme is emerging. This is a new
Right.
emerging sector. Many of the companies are going to venture into this sector. One can keep on their radar. This is a very new theme. Just a couple of years back, or 5 6 years back, there was no defense sector to discuss in India. But whereas we have today, defense sectorial funds have emerged in the past few years, and the way these stocks have been resilient and created wealth to the investors is quite. The numbers have been quite commendable. So these kind of new themes coming up at this point of time. Semiconductor is the space one need to keep on their radar. Data center is the theme. But coming back, always the center of action for Indian markets are concerned, the banking and
Hmm.
financial services. Okay,
Yeah.
these stocks also have been in a consolidation. So for the going ahead for this week also, banking and financial services stocks to be on the investors' radar for the fag end of the year.
All right, let's come to the market outlook for next week. What can we expect next week, and what are the levels to watch out for?
The crucial level at the upside is Nifty sustaining the range of 26,000. That is crucial for this market. But the texture of the market, as I mentioned to you, it's a buy and dip, sell and rally kind of a market. Today, Nifty could able to went nearer to the 26,000 level, but it was not able to touch the range of 26,000 level. If the Nifty could able to sustain this range of 26,000 level, we can expect some 26,250. That was the range. At the downside, the level to
Okay.
watch out around 25,850. That is the range we are going to witness. The Nifty has to break on upside 26,250 level decisively. That's where we can see some kind of a action in the coming weeks. So watch out
All
these
right.
levels, which are crucial for the markets in the medium to short term.
All right. Well, this marks the end of our segment for today. Thank you so much, Mr. Kranti, for taking out time and joining us today on ET Markets live stream.
Thank you, Neha. It's always my pleasure to share my views with you and with all the viewers of ET Markets. And happy weekend.
Thank you so much. Same to you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you so much.